Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is your personal transformation strategist, Shauna-Kaye speaking. And this morning, I just want to welcome everyone to the Monday Mindset Motivation. And today we're talking about the importance of growing in faith, hope, and love. It is my position that growing in faith, hope, and love is about spiritual progress. So essentially, as you grow as an individual, you may feel sometimes stagnated, you may feel distanced from your why, and you don't realize the reason for that. And I submit that one of the key reasons why sometimes we feel distance from our purpose, from our reason for living or reason for being, is that we have not grown sufficiently in faith, hope, and love. And there are a multiplicity of views as it relates to how one can grow in faith and why it is important to grow in faith. But what I'm suggesting this morning is that it is of utmost import that we build on our faith, that we find out and understand that love is imperative, that it is an integral part of the process of growing as an individual, of realizing why we're here and what we can do to live out our purpose to its optimum. So this morning we're talking about the importance of growing in faith, hope, and love. And as we're about to start this conversation, I see some persons here. Good morning, Ransford. Good morning, Yannick. Good morning, Sister Camille. Guys, remember to go right ahead and share the broadcast with your friends. Share it on your pages, your profiles. You are more than welcome to share. And also, if you're not yet a member of the Facebook group, Manifest Your Greatness Now, you're also welcome to join that group because we share daily insights. And also for persons who are already members of the group and those who are expressing an interest now, you're also welcome to share. Anything negative will be deleted because that's a positive space of empowerment and inspiration. But I don't want you guys to think you're limited. You can share any positive thoughts that you have so that each of us can help to build the other person. Oh, I see Valin. Good morning, Valin. Good morning, Mr. Burke. Thank you all for joining. Again, go ahead and share the broadcast. So this morning we're talking about why sometimes we may feel distance from our purpose, why sometimes we may have this burning desire inside, and it seems as though no matter what we do, we're not realizing our true potential, we're not realizing our goals, nothing seems to be happening. Thank you so much, Mr. Burke. And so sometimes you feel as though, and that's one of the reasons why sometimes we give up, because sometimes you feel as though what you're doing is in vain. It doesn't matter how much work you put in, how many suggestions you take on and try to implement that in your process, nothing seems to be happening. I submit that one of the reasons why you may be having such an experience is that you forget to implement that very important element called faith. You forget to implement hope. You forget to implement love. These are all things that we throw around in a sort of random way without actually realizing what they really are and how they fit into the process. So this morning, I just want to take this opportunity to remind everyone. So the first thing is growing in faith. Growing in faith is about believing what you say you want, believing the things that you utter. So many times we go around and we say, with God, all things are possible. We say that we want these big things to happen, but we allow things like doubt and fear to creep into the back door and to basically cancel out our desires. Because even though we speak of faith, we actually see it in a very abstract way instead of something that can actually happen. Mr. Burke said, always know you have greatness in you. Oh, Lord. Thank you, Mr. Burke. You're very generous with your words. So yes, you have to understand that faith is something that is very important for each of us to have. Not only that, you have to understand what is the essence of faith. Stepping out in faith, hope, and love, even when your dreams seem impossible, is very important because over time you're going to grow as an individual. You're going to fortify your character, and you will soon realize that little by little, the things that you thought were once impossible, you get closer and closer to realizing those things in your life. As you fortify your faith, as you fortify the hope that you have within you, and as you fortify the love that you feel not just for yourself but for the other people around you, you will realize that you become more confident as an individual, and you become more confident in the big vision that you once thought were impossible. And after a while, you do those things and you start to ask yourself, wow, what took me so long? What made me stay so long not realizing that these things could be done by me? You see, one of the things that you have to accept as a person is that you have everything that you need. And sometimes we forget that. Because why? We're looking to the left and to the right and we're comparing ourselves to other people. And I suppose it's kind of inevitable that you are going to compare yourself to someone else. It's just a part of human nature. However, if you realize that this constant comparison is getting in your way and preventing you from advancing because you are so distracted by someone else who is perhaps doing better than you, you have to find a way to let go of it. You have to find a way to understand that this constant comparison is inhibiting you and preventing you from focusing on your process. We all have individual processes. And what you have to understand is that you have to run your own race. I had a good friend who used to always tell me, write your own script. And it is true. It doesn't matter how similar our stories might be. We all have different stories. There are certain experiences that we have had that no one else has had those experiences. Even if they have similar ones, there are elements which make yours unique to you. So the first thing that you have to understand is that you are complete. In God's sight, you are complete. You were predestined for such a time as this. And as it said in St. John 16 verse 15, you did not choose him. He chose you and ordained you, predestined you for a time as this. You were empowered for such a time as this. And so you have to start accepting that you have everything that you need. And that one of the reasons why you may not be getting close to your why or close to your purpose is that you see yourself as lacking something when in fact you lack nothing. So let's talk about faith for a little bit. It is said in the book of Hebrews that God is the author and finisher of our faith. And what that essentially means is that when we put our trust in God completely, then he is the one who basically molds our faith. And when we trust him and allow him to lead us, to control the process for us, he is going to see our dreams through to fruition. And as long as you believe that and you start fortifying your belief in the things that you are saying and you start believing deep within that, even though you don't see them right now, you have the faith enough to call for those things that be not as though they were. Even though you're not seeing the things right now, you have to understand that they're possible. First of all, I believe that no one gets a vision that was impossible. God is not going to give you a vision that you cannot realize. God is not trying to take you on some false hope. And so if you have a burning desire inside of you, and even though it seems so big that it is beyond you, you have to understand that you have it within your power to manifest those big dreams and those big visions. Because it is said that human being is God in manifestation. And if you think about the whole essence of God, the all-powerful God who can do anything at all, then you understand also that you can do anything. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Hi, Joseph. Thank you for joining. So the next point that I want to make, well, before I go on a little bit more on faith, remember the story of Peter when he was out trying to catch fish and he was toiling all night, did not catch anything. And the following day, Jesus said to him, well, cast your net again. It is said, you see the story in the book of St. Luke chapter 5. And in verse 4, it spoke about how Peter had thrown out the net. He didn't catch anything. And then the following day, Jesus came and said, throw your net again. And he said, we toiled all night last night. We didn't catch anything. But because you said it, I'm going to do it. It's the same way that you have to look at your life. Even though Peter was an immediate disciple of Christ, we too are disciples. And you have to believe that what happened with Peter, where he exerted 100% faith in saying that, God, even though I tried so hard and nothing happened, the fact that you said it, I'm going to do it again. And you saw what happened. He could not even contain the net. It was breaking with the number of fish with the amount of fish that he caught. So you have to have that kind of faith to know that if God says to you that you can do it, if he says to you that with me all things are possible, then all things, bar none, are possible. And you have to believe that with every fiber of your being. You know, there's an ironic statement that growing up they always tell you, well, expect the worst and hope for the best. I think that's a paradox and I think it is ridiculous because first of all, faith is about expectations. So how can you live by a philosophy that says expect the worst and hope for the best? It's like you're planning, you're doing all this great work, but you expect the worst. And I understand the basis of that statement is persons are really trying to buffer themselves against disappointment. But first of all, get out of wonderland and dreamland and understand that disappointments are inevitable. Heartbreaks are inevitable. You're going to have some down moments. You cannot prevent that. Murphy is going to hit you left, right, and center. It's a part of the process. That's what's going to fortify you and help you to build character. Thank you so much for sharing, Alicia. But you have to understand that as you go through that process and as you get knocked down and you get up each time, you're stronger for it. So get rid of that mindset about expecting the worst and hoping for the best, because that's kind of like synonymous with our notion of luck. And as I've already said, I agree with Seneca that luck is where preparation meets opportunity. So any other notion of luck is a fallacy. And you need to absolve yourself of those ridiculous ideas and understand that you need to expect the best. There are lots of people out here who say that you shouldn't have expectations, and they have, I suppose, plausible arguments for saying that, and that's fine, but I don't agree with that school of thought. You should expect the best because you have faith enough to understand that the deep desires and dreams that you have inside can come to fruition. You want them to come to fruition, and you believe with every fiber of your being that they will. And the other part of the statement is hope for the best. I think you should say expect the best and hope for the best. Having put in the work, the best is going to be your outcome. It may not be the specific outcome that you wanted or that you thought was best for you, but rest assured that you are going to reap the rewards of your labor. Because as Earl Nightingale says, a reward in life will be in exact proportion to our contribution or service. Don't go around trying to cheat people. Don't go around thinking that you're going to be able to put in a little bit of work and reap big rewards. There are people who do that, but over time it catches up with them. So always be willing to do even more than you are paid for, and over time you'll realize that you will reap the reward in one aspect of your life or another. So ladies and gentlemen, as we come to a close with this broadcast, I am just here to remind you that one of the reasons why you may feel distance from your why, from your purpose, from your reason for being, is that you have not fortified your faith. You have not fortified your hope and your desires. You're not fortified the love. And let's speak a little bit more on love before we end this broadcast. When I speak of love, I speak of it in an all-encompassing way. You already know that the greatest commandment is to love the Lord your God with all your heart, and that you should love your neighbor as yourself. But sometimes we see that as abstract, and one of the reasons for that is we don't really know how to love ourselves. Some of us have been so beaten up by life that it is very difficult for us to love ourselves. Some of us don't even think that we deserve love. And so when someone beats on you and put you down and say that they're doing it in the name of love, you don't even know the difference. But what you have to understand is that love is pure and it does not hurt you. So if someone loves you, they're not going to hurt you. And when you understand how to love, you will definitely know the difference. I believe that loving, whether it is yourself or other people, it starts with acceptance. And it is connected to a prior point I made, which is that you have to accept that you are enough. You have to accept that you have everything that you need. You're not lacking in anything. And anything that you may lack is somewhat superficial in the sense that you can grow, you can gain those things. Whatever skills you need, you can learn those skills. But you don't lack anything that you need insofar as realizing your purpose is concerned. So once you grow to accept yourself, understanding that you are complete, that you lack nothing, and that no one can take away from you what God has already given you, then you will learn to love yourself as you are and not trying to be someone else, because you can never be someone else. That spot is already taken. The person that you are trying so hard to be like, you can never be that person because that spot is taken already by that person. But be the best you that you can be, because there's no one else like you. People may try, there may be people out there trying to be like you, yet you're over here saying that you are not enough, you don't have everything that you need, and someone else is over there admiring you and saying that they want to be like you. Start introspecting and looking for the qualities that you have inside and use those to motivate you and remind you that you have everything that you need. Once you're able to accept yourself, then you will begin to love yourself. And the more you love yourself, the more it will be easier for you to love other people. The more you love yourself, the more you will realize the importance of loving other people. And I believe that even though you should love God first, because the first commandment is to love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, you have to understand that for many people, it's not going to be easy to love God when you can't even see God. But if you can love yourself and you can love other people around you, then it becomes much easier for you to love God. So when you fortify yourself in love, in hope, and most of all in faith, then you will realize that drawing closer to your dreams and your reason for being is much clearer. Some of us our thoughts and our minds are so cloudy. That's why we go around seeking clarity coaches, because we're saying that we're unclear about our dreams. We don't know what's our purpose. And one of the reasons for that, you're not going to find your answer in coaches. You're not going to find your answer in thought leaders. You're not necessarily going to find your answer in books. You can only find your answer in God, which He has already given us the laws in terms of fortifying our faith and our love for self and other people. That's your starting point, ladies and gentlemen. So as you go through the rest of the day and the rest of this week, just remember the 3 ingredients: faith, hope, and love. Those are the 3 key ingredients that are going to draw you closer to your reason for being, your reason for existing. Those are the 3 key ingredients that are going to draw you closer to your why. So as you go through your week, remind yourself of that. Thank you all for joining me this morning, and I have one important announcement to make. On Wednesday of this week, which is the 24th, there will not be a podcast. There will not be a live conversation, and that is because I have an engagement. If you check my cover photo, you will see that I have a panel discussion on Wednesday, which means that I'm going to be engaged that evening from 7 p.m. The conversation normally comes at 8:30 p.m. and I will not be available. So regrettably, there will not be a live conversation. But knowing me and knowing that you guys are waiting to hear from me, I may still come on maybe on Thursday or later in the week. I will not leave you stranded. But on Wednesday, the 24th of January 2018, there will not be a live conversation at 8:30 p.m. because, as you guys know, I have a panel discussion on that same day at 7 p.m. and so I will not be available. Thank you all for joining me this morning. Go ahead and share the broadcast. If you're just joining, then at your own leisure, go ahead and watch from the beginning. Also, send your request to join the group Manifest Your Greatness Now, and I will go ahead and accept you. I'm going to put the link for the goal setting handbook in the description box once I end this broadcast, because you are still not far away from realizing your dreams. It's still not impossible, even though the year has already started. This book will help you to structure your life basically and to become strategic about setting your goals. It's only $2.99 for the ebook version. I will put the link in the bio when I end this conversation. Until next time, have yourselves a great day. Have yourself a fabulous week, and God bless you all. Thanks for joining.